So a couple days ago, I made a video called 4 Mods Out Now, basically going over 4 mods available for Skyrim Remastered on Xbox One right now. Some of the popular mod authors in the community did get early access to the game and the creation kit, and have been porting some of their mods over now so they can be available on day 1. Well, today I'm going to show you 5 more mods that have been added since then that I think are pretty cool and you should be excited for. I also do want to give a quick disclaimer. I am a little bit sick while recording this, so if my voice sounds kind of weird at some parts, that's probably why. Also, if you enjoy the content, I really encourage you guys to consider subscribing. But with that, let's get right into it. So first and foremost, we have Alternate Start Live Another Life. So if you're a Skyrim user on Xbox One, this is the single mod I would be most excited about and basically the most happy that it came out before the release. So this will be available on day 1. Basically, this is a very popular mod on PC. I've used it for Fallout, but it's the same concept for Skyrim. When you start a new game with this mod loaded, you're actually going to go through a totally different process. You're not going to have that whole intro sequence anymore. Basically, you're going to create your character and customize them to whatever you want to be. But then the part that I really like about these mods, you have a choice as to where you want to start your journey, and typically this will yield you starting with some basic supplies. So if you want to be a mage, you'll start with some basic mage things. I personally chose being a soldier, so I started with a sword and just some different armor that way in Solitude, so I could start my journey over that way. If you kind of have in your head, you know, okay, I want to go do things over here in this playthrough, then you kind of get a little bit of a jump start and not have to waste so much time in the beginning trying to get over there. Definitely a very good mod in general and a very good one to have on day 1. Next up, we have Ars Metallica. This is a pretty simple mod, basically just doing some fixes to the crafting system that were basically things that I didn't like about it and a lot of users didn't like about it, so someone did make a mod fixing those. So now archers are going to be able to make their own arrows. It does help you with some of the stuff added in by some of the DLCs. They'll be easier to craft and make. You'll get more experience for melting down things now compared to previously and leathering things. All around, it's meant to just be some buffs to the crafting system and kind of quality of life changes. Things that probably should have been in the vanilla game but weren't, so now this mod's going to add them back in. It's a very cool mod and another good one that's just kind of good to download and have in your game. If you notice the changes, great. If you don't, then you probably will just be happy they're there anyway. So this mod's actually super simple but super cool. Open City Skyrim basically makes it so when you go to the doors on some of those major cities, typically you had to go through a little cutscene to kind of get from inside the city to the outside of the city. Well, now the doors are just going to open like any old door and you could just walk fluidly through the city. This works for all the major cities in the game and it's really just a great mod to experience. It's so crazy just being able to walk fluidly through these in and out, and it kind of just creates a totally different dynamic with the cities. After installing this mod, it really made me realize how much I feel bogged down by those load screens. It really takes you out of the game for a few seconds, and like even in combat, if you kind of have combat around the front of the city, going into the city with that combat is just a very cool experience and something totally unique that this simple mod allows you to do. Definitely a cool mod to download, and at least in my personal experience, I didn't have any kind of frame issues or anything like that, so hopefully everything will be good on Xbox One. So next up, we have the Blades of Chaos and Athena. So these are from the God of War series. It's a video game series if you've never heard of it. This mod simply adds those two swords into the game in two different forms, one in a proper sword form and then another in a dagger form for you to craft and use. These are really high quality, they look extremely sharp, and it's definitely a lot of time and effort went into them. I mainly want to include this because there aren't really that many weapon mods going to be available on day 1, so I think a lot of people should be excited for this one because it's a good quality weapon mod. Although it's smaller than some of the alternatives, it will probably be all that's available for at least the first day of Skyrim Remastered. They also do look awesome with their different effects when you're playing in first person and actually taking down enemies. Obviously they have extremely fast swing speeds, they don't do the most damage in the world, but they're still pretty fun weapons to use, especially while dual wielding. All around, a very good mod, and especially if you're a God of War fan, then you'll probably be extra hyped for this one. So last but not least, we have Angelic Halos and Demonic Horns. This is a pretty cool mod. Basically, it adds in two different sets of items, one being halos and then the other being horns. Each of these have their own corresponding colors, so you could have them in your own. Personally, I just went with the default colors because I feel like that's the best way to display them, but it's nice to know you have that extra layer of customizability if you did want it. It's a pretty simple mod, although it does look very cool. They have like nice little effects and fiery effects going on as you wear them. That's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this one though, guys. Hopefully you are pretty hyped for Skyrim Remastered. Hopefully some of these new games coming out like Battlefield and that aren't distracting you too much, because believe me, it's definitely going to be a massive release, especially with the modding scene on Xbox One. As always, I thank you guys again for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.